This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Jamaica eases some COVID-19 restrictions. Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Tuesday announced the easing of some measures that are in place to limit the spread of the coronavirus on the island. There has been a further relaxation of the nightly curfew, which is now set to run from midnight until 5 a.m. The new curfew hours come into effect Friday, February 25 and run until March 17. The previous curfew ran from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. The limit on funerals have been increased to a maximum of 100 people, and the maximum number of persons at events hosted by public entities have been increased from 50 to 100. Holness also announced an end to the travel authorization requirement through the Jam COVID platform and the travel-related quarantine effective Tuesday, March 1. The Prime Minister made the announcement in an address to the nation on Tuesday evening, noting that indications pointed to a rapid improvement of COVID-19 situation in the country. Jamaica is the latest country to announce the easing of restrictive COVID-19 measures. The Dominican Republic last week announced an immediate suspension of all restrictive coronavirus restrictive measures. Holness had hinted at the move earlier this month when he stated in Parliament that the DRMA has reached its limit and that the country has reached its tolerance limit for restrictions. Police charge 4 people after firearm seizure in Brownstown. 4 people, including a woman, were arrested and charged following the seizure of a Smith & Wesson Springfield 9mm pistol during an operation in Liberty District, Brownstown in St. Ann on Tuesday, February 15. Charged are 23-year-old Stephen Campbell, 26-year-old Javon Edwards, 21-year-old Javon Johnson, and 35-year-old Yannick Green, all of St. Ann addresses. Reports from the Brownstown police are that about 5:45 p.m., lawmen were in the area when a premises was searched. During the search, the illegal firearm, which contained 11 rounds of ammunition, was found hidden in a sofa. They were arrested and subsequently charged on Monday, February 21. Fire raged at the downtown Kingston Railway Market. There was a massive fire in the downtown Kingston Market District in the area known as Ray. The wooden stalls were engulfed and one fire unit was on the scene in an effort to extinguish the blaze. Only last year the location suffered a similar fate. In fact, over the last few years, the heavily trafficked area has suffered 3 fire incidents. One vendor in the market was seen exiting a taxi, holding her hands on her head, seeing another fire again. Alleged gang leader wanted men to use new gun on one of his soldiers. Reputed leader of the Wandon faction of the Klansman gang had reportedly given an order for one of his soldiers, whom he believed was a police informant, to get the first shot from the brand new handgun that he had bought for the gang. Yesterday, the court heard that while Andre Blackman Brand was in custody, he was convinced that defendant Jazeel Blake, who goes by the moniker Squeeze Eye, was among the alleged gang members who had turned on him and wanted him killed. On one of the recordings, the former top-tier member of the gang, who had secretly recorded his conversations with the gang members, was heard discussing with defendant Roel Rel Taylor a new firearm, a black and silver handgun, which the gang had bought for $60,000. During the conversation, the ex-gangster, the prosecution's second star witness, was heard saying, "My boy them say for work pan it still," after telling Rel that he had got permission to come for the gun. When asked by the prosecutor to explain what he was saying when he mentioned "my boy," he stated that he was referring to Squeeze Eye. Blackman said when the gun by Squeeze Eye must be the first one for dead after it, the prosecution witness disclosed. In another recording, the witness was heard telling the marked for death alleged gangster that he had not yet purchased the gun, although the court had heard in a previous recording that the gun was paid for and delivered. "The man them get through?" Squeeze Eye asked. "Them not get through all now," the witness replied. The witness, who was one of Blackman's drivers in that conversation, also lied to Squeeze Eye about purchasing the gun from a man who defendant Fabian Crox Johnson had told them about. Asked why he had lied, he shared that black man and the city post don't want him to know about the gun. They want to kill him because they say he was working with the police. The witness during his testimony yesterday also pointed out that the gun in question was one of the 2 guns that he had helped the police to retrieve. He had previously testified that he had told the black man and the city post, the gang's alleged second in command, that he had someone to kill and that they gave him permission to borrow the gun, but had asked him to give them feedback when he used it and to provide a photo of the weapon. During the playing of the recording, Rel was heard asking what he had told the black man about the gun. "Me tell him say it feel good, man. Nah lie, this spring a kick in it," the witness replied. However, the witness, who previously claimed he had never fired a gun, told the court that he was only bluffing as he had to pretend that he had fired the gun. In that same conversation, Rel was heard further telling the witness that the man who had sold him the gun had informed him that he had 12 more of the same exact thing and same tall one. "From it a kick good, we nah no problem, you know. The greatest thing them a lick good," the witness replied. Meanwhile, in an earlier conversation, Crooks was heard telling Black Man that he wanted to murder the relatives of one of their alleged gang members, Dodos, who they felt had become disloyal. During the conversation, Crooks told the Black Man that Mama Stephanie Christie, the lone female defendant, had informed him that she had spotted Dodos' sister in St. Thomas and that it looks like Dodos was living up there and that they could go up there and kill him. But Black Man told him that Dodos was in custody. "Some boy a go round the thing, we still have to make them ball same way. Them know what time it is. A no joke thing," Crooks replied. The witness, when asked to explain what the alleged gangster was saying, explained that he wanted to kill Dodos' relatives and make him ball for them. Brian and the 32 other alleged gang members are being tried on a 25-count indictment under the Criminal Justice and the Firearms Act. The Wandon gang is a breakaway faction of the Klansman gang. The trial continues today with more recordings being played. Buff Bay High continues to mourn 1 week after student collapses and dies on sports field. Staff and the students of Buff Bay High School in Western Portland are mourning the loss of Nicholas Barnes, a grade 12 student who collapsed and died at the school just over a week ago. Barnes was at the training when he collapsed. He was taken to a clinic where he was pronounced dead. The school was in a somber mood when the news visited days after the incident. School officials said students and staff have been receiving grief counseling. Principal Sandra Buchanan fought back tears as she spoke with the news. The school community has been really traumatized since the tragedy. From Monday afternoon, pure tears. You can imagine the VP, who happens to be the head coach, who had to take the young man down to the clinic. I was at the Ministry of Education regional office. When I rushed back down, he was in the back of the car. That's where the doctors pronounced him dead. His mother came and you can imagine the screams. Then the other athletes came because they were at training and they had to lock the gate at the hospital. It was so traumatic. I cried like a baby, said Buchanan. We had never experienced this before at our school. The trauma team came from the regional office on Tuesday. They had sessions with the students and the teachers trying to help us to cope with the whole thing. The support was there as pastors from the Independent Baptist Church came and did devotions with us. His mother came by in the afternoon trying to bring some closure and we all broke down again. It has not been easy. We all are crying, teachers and the students, but we still have to go on with the school as we have been out so long. We are taking it one step at a time, added Buchanan. She noted that the coach was not at the school when the news visited, as he was struggling to deal with the tragedy. He is not taking it easy and seems to be taking full responsibility and taking too much on himself. They went to Camperdown Classics on Saturday and they came back okay. They were just having a regular training session on Monday, nothing strenuous, and he just collapsed. This young man was healthy. He did his medical and he did everything and passed everything with flying colors. Nicholas was such a very nice young man. He was mannerly. He was a pleasant, loving young man. He came here in either 3rd or 4th form from America. He was living with his father in the USA, and his mother wanted him to finish school here and to go back. He was supposed to be going back this summer, and this tragedy happened. The family is not taking it very well, and the school is in full support of the family. The mother and her small son were here yesterday as she came and picked up his shoe and other things that he had changed off for training, and his stuff was still here. We are taking it one day at a time. We are in mourning, and it is very, very difficult, Buchanan said. Sandika Willis Nicholas, who was Barnes's form teacher, struggled for words as she spoke with the news. He was a fine student and was very punctual. He was always here and early. In the mornings when I go up the steps to mark the register, he's always there. He's never late. This jovial kid always wanted to help, and he was very supportive, always giving hugs. Once he saw that you're not doing so well in the mornings, he would ask, "Miss, are you okay? Miss, you want a hug?" He is that type of person. His helpfulness was visible, as when I had him for class, he would come and ask where the class will be held, and if we are going outside, he would set up the class area, said Willis Nicholas. Rolando Williams, one of Barnes's classmates, also struggled as he told the news that they were normally the first students to arrive at school in the morning. "It is a sad day for me to see he is not here. I fixed the table and carried flowers and write notes and put on it. He was a jovial, kind, sharing, loving person. He was funny and everybody enjoyed his company," said Williams. He was a sprinter. "I came to this school in November and we became friends. He was the first person who spoke to me, as when I came I didn't have on any mask, and he bought one for me and said his lunch money was short, and we started talking from there. Every lunchtime we go together and come back and eat. We play games every night online. I miss him," said Williams as he tried to hold back the tears. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.